In the spacious hall adorned with elegant decor, the lady sat gracefully, her eyes wandering casually across the room until they settled on two girls passing by. A spark of recognition ignited within her, and she couldn't resist calling out, "Dorothea." Her curiosity was evident in her voice as she wondered why Dorothea had traveled all this way. However, her thoughts quickly shifted when she noticed her first opponent, a formidable figure, a guy at least twice her size. Undeterred by the challenge before her, she composed herself with poise and determination, ready to face whatever obstacle lay ahead. With a deep breath, she entered a beautifully adorned room, where a person of higher rank awaited her presence, their presence commanding respect and authority. The anticipation filled the air, but she was prepared to prove herself and meet the challenge head-on, determined to show her worth and prowess in this high-stakes encounter. With respect in her tone, she greeted the person as "Your Grace." Grace, the one addressed, inquired about the reason for the lady's visit, revealing her name to be Ethan. Ethan, with confidence and assertiveness, shared her thoughts about the matchups. She proposed that the competition should pair opponents of similar size to ensure a fair and proper contest. Ethan highlighted that it would be unfair if competitors greatly differed in size, leading to a predictable outcome. In an effort to make the tournament more engaging and appealing, Grace, the event organizer, suggested implementing a strategy to attract more spectators. Her proposal aimed to avoid obvious mismatches between the participants, ensuring a fair and exciting competition for everyone involved. As Ethan, one of the participants, presented his idea to the gathering, Grace listened attentively, fully absorbed in his proposal. She found his suggestion commendable, acknowledging his kind-heartedness in considering not only the welfare of all the participants but also the enjoyment of the spectators attending the event. With a nod of approval, Grace admired Ethan's thoughtfulness and commitment to ensuring a positive experience for everyone, making the tournament not just a contest of skills but also an occasion for camaraderie and shared enjoyment among all those present. As they joined forces, Grace and Ethan diligently worked together, putting their plan into action with unwavering determination. They were confident that their collective efforts would elevate the tournament to unprecedented heights, leaving a lasting impression on all those who took part in the event. Ethan's intentions shone brightly, driven by a deep-seated desire for fairness and inclusivity. He was determined to create an environment where all participants, regardless of their skill levels or backgrounds, could experience the thrill of competition and the joy of being part of something grand held under the esteemed Bront name. Grace admired Ethan's commitment to the values that the Bront tournament represented: integrity, camaraderie, and a celebration of talent. She knew that by embracing these ideals and diligently working together, they could transform the tournament into an unforgettable experience for everyone involved. As the event day approached, anticipation filled the air. The news of their efforts spread, attracting a diverse crowd of spectators eager to witness the unfolding of this transformed tournament. It became clear that this year's Bront tournament would be a defining moment, not just for Grace and Ethan, but for all who participated, as they would share in the excitement of the fair competition and cherish the memories created in this remarkable sporting spectacle. In this exchange, the underlying essence of empathy and compassion between the two individuals became evident. As they discussed the intricacies of the competition, the hall echoed with a sense of understanding and mutual respect, solidifying the bond between Ethan and Grace. Their shared vision of fostering an environment where everyone could shine and be appreciated for their skills spoke to the essence of their characters and the spirit of the tournament they were part of. Grace said that he'll tell those in charge the matchups accordingly. Then one of the opponents Ethan saw said that so they're changing the matchups. He continued and said that why would they make changes after already announcing it? He said, isn't it obvious that he is betting that his opponent chickened out? He continued and said that honestly it's embarrassing that he have to fight a little kid like that. A lady replied that she didn't chicken out. The lady continued that maybe the organizers wanted to make sure that he stay alive a bit longer. She continued and said that surely it would be pretty embarrassing for a big man like him if he lost his first match, right? The man replied the lady and said why she little chicken shit. The man said that if she wants to fight then they should do it inside the arena. The lady replied that fighting in a place like this only proves that he is a bad little kid. Then the man said to her that she better don't run from their match, otherwise she's dead. The referee asked the lady that will she be okay. The lady replied the referee that the referee shouldn't mind the man. While they were announcing that the contestants are entering, Ethan said to himself that he can't believe he's up first. He's so nervous. Ethan looked into the stage and saw the lady. Then Ethan said Dorothy, which is the girl name, and waved to her, but Dorothy didn't reply, neither waved back, but it would have been nice if Dorothy had waved back. Then Ethan was called to the stage to fight his opponent, and after a while they begin the match. Meanwhile, Ethan still has the look of acting like an idiot, but suddenly Ethan's eyes change at the crucial moment. During Ethan's fight, Dorothy shows some hatred about Ethan. After a while, Ethan won the match. He shouted, "Dorothy, I won." Dorothy was disappointed to what Ethan did. Ethan's stage name was Raymond. Although Ethan went to the trouble of changing the matchups, but Dorothy came to the tournament to recuperate, Ethan began to think, what if Dorothy get injured? Before the match begin, it was made known that there won't be responsibility if Dorothy get hurt, but a real sword would have been better. After the match begin, Dorothy was looking at the guy like an amateur because the tempo was so slow, but after some minutes the guy knelt down and wonder who the hell is Dorothy. People who watch the match begin to ask themselves, who is the incredible kid and what family did she come from? Dorothy was announced as the winner of the second match. Ethan was amazed with what Dorothy did, but Dorothy want everything to be quiet. And also Dorothy doesn't want Ethan to act like he knows her. After a series of match, Dorothy and Raymond both continued to progress to the finals without any problems. In the semifinal round, Dorothy found herself facing her opponent, Joey, a formidable contender in the year tournament. Both of them brought an air of freshness and excitement to the competition, like a rejuvenating breeze sweeping through the event. Before the match commenced, Joey took a moment to express his intentions to Dorothy, offering an apology but admitting that he was determined to win the tournament. Dorothy, with a playful grin, regarded his words as a friendly jest, confident in her own abilities. As the battle began, Joey brimmed with confidence, believing he had what it takes to defeat Dorothy. However, fate had other plans, as Dorothy showcased her skills and determination on the battlefield, eventually emerging victorious. The defeat came as a surprise to Joey, but he accepted it gracefully, acknowledging Dorothy's prowess. With her triumph in the semifinal, Dorothy now advanced to the highly anticipated final showdown. Her opponent in the championship match was none other than Raymond, also known as Ethan, adding an extra layer of excitement to the moment. The announcement of the final match stirred excitement among the spectators, who had eagerly awaited this thrilling clash of talents. The arena buzzed with anticipation, as the final duel promised to be a spectacle that would leave a lasting impression on all who witnessed it. Dorothy and Raymond were both standing for the final. Raymond thought of allowing Dorothy to take the first place, but Dorothy wished that Raymond shouldn't think about going easy on her. It was really scary. Then the match was started. As the much-anticipated match was about to commence, the atmosphere crackled with excitement and anticipation. Spectators gathered in the bustling crowd, eager to witness the contest between Dorothy and Raymond. Among the throng of onlookers, a lady stood, her emotions caught in a delicate balance, torn between her deep affection for both competitors. As she gazed upon Dorothy, she couldn't help but marvel at the young woman's determination and skill. Yet, a cloud of doubt lingered in her mind, pondering why so many underestimated Dorothy's prowess in the competition. She knew the strength that resided within Dorothy, but it seemed others perceived her as weak, perhaps due to her unassuming appearance. The lady's heart went out to her friend, wishing that everyone could see the fierce determination and resilience that lay beneath the surface. On the other hand, her fondness for Raymond was equally powerful. His charisma and unwavering confidence on the battlefield were awe-inspiring. The lady admired his boldness and strategic prowess, knowing that he would prove to be a formidable opponent for Dorothy. She couldn't deny the excitement that coursed through her veins, eager to witness the clash of these two remarkable competitors. Caught between her admiration for Dorothy and her fondness for Raymond, the lady couldn't help but feel torn. She grappled with her emotions, unsure of whom to cheer for during the intense match that was about to unfold. Each competitor held a special place in her heart, and she wished for nothing but the best for both of them. As the announcer's voice echoed through the arena, signaling the start of the match, the lady took a deep breath, trying to steady her emotions. In that moment, she made a silent vow to support both Dorothy and Raymond wholeheartedly, regardless of the outcome. She knew that regardless of who emerged victorious, their skills and dedication deserved recognition and admiration. In the tumultuous sea of emotions and cheers that surrounded her, the lady found solace in the knowledge that she could stand by both her beloved friends. With an unwavering heart, she joined the crowd, ready to lend her voice to celebrate the brilliance of Dorothy and Raymond, knowing that their performance would be nothing short of extraordinary. As the contest unfolded, the lady cherished the privilege of being a witness to the strength, passion, and camaraderie that existed between these two exceptional competitors. As the intense battle unfolded before her eyes, she found herself unable to decide where her loyalty lay. Seeking some clarity, she turned to a man seated next to her, hoping for his perspective on the matter. "Who do you think is going to win?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity and anticipation. However, to her surprise, the man remained silent, unable to utter a single word in response. His silence further intensified the lady's dilemma, as she realized that even he was unable to predict the outcome of the fierce competition. The contest between Dorothy and Raymond had captivated the attention of all who watched, leaving them in suspense and anticipation as the two skilled individuals fought with remarkable prowess. In the midst of the spectators' excitement and anticipation, the lady's heart continued to waver, torn between her affection for Dorothy and Raymond. Each moment of the match brought forth a surge of emotions within her, making the decision of whom to cheer for an even more challenging task. As the battle between the two competitors raged on, the lady found herself holding her breath, her eyes darting between Dorothy and Raymond. She knew that regardless of the outcome, both competitors had poured their heart and soul into the contest, showcasing their remarkable abilities and unwavering determination. As the final moments of the contest approached, the tension in the air was palpable, and the lady's heart pounded with each move. In the end, she realized that she didn't need to choose sides between Dorothy and Raymond. Instead, she cheered for the spirit of competition and the passion displayed by both competitors, appreciating the beauty of their dedication and skill. In that moment, she embraced the joy of witnessing two exceptional individuals giving their all, making the match a truly memorable experience for everyone present in the crowd. The match was getting intense and Dorothy was losing. Then Dorothy summoned herself to concentrate. Raymond feel so sad for hitting Dorothy because Dorothy's face looked so bad. But Dorothy act as if it doesn't hurt one bit, and then Raymond continued to stay focused. Raymond was so scared of hurting Dorothy. Then Raymond began to think of what to do, because if he continued to fight Dorothy like that, something bad could happen. When Dorothy noticed that Raymond wasn't focused, then she dropped her sword and left the stage. Raymond called Dorothy that she should wait, but Dorothy didn't answer, so Raymond decided to follow her. While he was walking towards Dorothy, Raymond mistakenly tripped his leg. But when Dorothy looked back to warn Raymond to stop following her, that was when she saw it. Without Raymond knowing, he has tripped his leg on something, and without hesitation Dorothy ran towards Raymond and saved him from a falling tense when Raymond has tripped his leg into. The people were shocked of what happened. Then some people took Dorothy to the palace. Dorothy was addressed as Your Highness. Then they begin to ask Dorothy what led to her jumping in like that. Cause seriously, Dorothy could have hurt herself a lot worse than just a broken arm. Dorothy wondered why she jumped in back then, but isn't it better that she got hurt instead of the crown prince? Dorothy continued that who did they think takes priority when both Dorothy and Raymond's lives were in danger. The people who brought Dorothy to the palace said, isn't it obvious that they saved Dorothy? Then Dorothy thanked them for saving her. Raymond was really sad because coming to the tournament really was a disaster. Then Raymond wept. After Dorothy, who is addressed as Princess Dorothea, has finished with her treatment, Lord Brontbow, and said it's all his fault because he has allowed something unforgivable to happen. Lord Bront began to ponder that Dorothy just had to break her arm in a tournament with his name, but Ethan was very grateful that it was Dorothy instead of the crown prince. But it was only because of Lord Bront's cooperation that Dorothy was treated so quickly. Then they left the place. On their way, Dorothy began to ponder, why did he save Raymond? But when they got to Raymond's place, Raymond really thanked Dorothy for today, and he was very sorry Dorothy got hurt because of him. But Dorothy doesn't want Raymond to be sorry. Then Raymond continued that Dorothy shouldn't do something like that again because Raymond doesn't want to see Dorothy get hurt. Then Dorothy began to think that at this rate a nice person like Raymond won't turn out to be a good emperor. But the good nature of Raymond that wants to be nice to her no matter how much she push him away. Dorothy couldn't obtain that despite living her life the second time. Then Raymond promised Dorothy that he will do anything for her if she needs, and he will be her arms and legs. In the palace, Dorothy was sitting. Then a maid came to that young Master Theon says he's leaving for the capital first thing tomorrow morning. Dorothy was amazed because it's too early, but it seems he has originally planned to stay just long enough to see the crown prince register for the tournament. But it hasn't been long since he arrived at the villa, but Dorothy didn't know when she might see him next if he leaves like this. Dorothy don't like goodbyes without a next time, but she just want to be greedy just this once. Theon carry his bag and wished Dorothy goodbye, but Dorothy was sad because Theon is leaving. If Dorothy heard that Theon is leaving early in the morning, she would have come to say goodbye, but Theon was sorry for making it come unannounced. Theon continued that how is her arm, and she said it's fine, that she's completely okay. Theon said when your highness got hurt that he wanted to run to her side as well, but if he had been stronger he would have protected your highness from getting hurt. Theon continued that he wants to grow strong as quickly as possible, so that next time they meet he would be able to protect your highness. Dorothy was amazed that is this the same Theon from the past. Then she smiled and said oh thanks. Dorothy continued that she remembered when Theon used to be so cold towards her, but now he's probably saying that now as something from the imperial court. Theon said he would like to write to your highness every once in a while. Dorothy replied that she'll make sure to write back. Then Theon take it as a promise. After a long conversation between Theon and Dorothy, Theon left the palace. At first Dorothy thought she was dreaming because Theon was genuinely concerned for her. Dorothy said to herself that it feels like she could have a good dream now. The late emperor protect Crown Prince Raymond from Princess Dorothea. Those were his final words before his passing, not to protect him from Hark or from the barbarians of the north, but he said to protect him from herself. Dorothy said to herself that does the emperor mean that he's the empire's enemy? Dorothy, the princess who went to war on behalf of the empire. I've been fighting for the empire's sake, so why would the late emperor say to protect the crown prince from her? How amazingly stubborn of him to reject her until the very end. Your highness was told that she is the only person that is qualified to become the true emperor. Surely the late emperor was clouded in his judgment, and they must put an end to the era of the spirit of light selecting the emperor. But your highness is the only one who's suited to take the throne after all. Then it's now or never for your highness to be the emperor. Dorothy said Raymond always had everything served to him on a silver platter, but why is she forced to always destroy and plunder to make something hers? Then is Raymond always right, while she's always wrong? Then she said she will become the emperor. Rather than being broken, she will break everything instead. Then the god began to stop the princess, and to protect the crown prince from her. Then she said that this seems like a suitable scene for father's funeral. Then Raymond greeted his sister and welcomed her back. Raymond continued that he heard that she achieved a great victory in the war against the Hark, so shall he raise a glass in her honor? But Dorothy replied that enough of all his foolishness. But Raymond continued that how about a glass tea their dead father? Dorothy said Raymond can do that he wants, but not her. It was known that Dorothy always hated her father, the late emperor, and he also hated her as well, but they wonder why they turned out like that. Then after a long heated talk, both the princess and the prince draw sword towards themselves and begin to fight each other. Then the princess said that if the prince want her to give up, then he should cut off her head, not her hair. But during the fight the prince noticed Dorothy is bleeding, then he stopped, but the princess continued and said that the arguments end if one of them dies. Suddenly the princess stabbed the prince with her sword in the chest. After the princess had stabbed him, she said that finally she won, now the throne is hers. She said that stupid Ray, how could he hesitate in a situation like this? As the prince gazed into the tear-filled eyes of the princess, a sense of remorse washed over him. He humbly admitted that he felt he hadn't lived up to her expectations, and he uttered the heartfelt words, "I'm sorry, I wasn't good enough." His voice trembled with sincerity as he implored her not to cry, hoping to ease the pain he feared he had caused. Upon hearing his apology, Dorothy, who stood nearby with the sword in hand, couldn't help but be perplexed by the prince's reaction. She wondered to herself, what is he saying? Why is he telling her not to cry? Her mind filled with questions, trying to comprehend the emotions and circumstances surrounding this poignant moment. As the tension lingered in the air, Dorothy observed the vulnerable side of the prince, realizing that behind his royal facade, he, too, grappled with doubts and insecurities. It was a moment of revelation that tugged at her heartstrings, prompting her to see beyond the prince's exterior and understand the complexities of his feelings. With compassion in her eyes, Dorothy gently withdrew the sword, sensing that this moment between the prince and the princess was delicate and deserving of privacy. As she stepped away, she hoped that the prince's sincere apology would bring comfort to the princess and perhaps pave the way for a deeper connection between them. Meanwhile, the princess, touched by the prince's candid admission, wiped away her tears, finding solace in his words. She appreciated his honesty and vulnerability, realizing that true strength lay not in perfection, but in the ability to acknowledge one's shortcomings and strive to be better. In the aftermath of this emotional encounter, the trio stood in silence for a moment, each contemplating their own thoughts and emotions. It was a turning point, a juncture where hearts opened and bonds strengthened, setting the stage for a new chapter in their intertwined destinies. Little did they know that this pivotal moment would lead to unexpected adventures and profound transformations, forever shaping their journey together. Then she replied that he's wrong because she's happy, but suddenly Raymond's body rested on Dorothy. Dorothy began to cry. Then she said to Raymond that she's crying because she's so happy that she's the emperor of Ubera now. Then Dorothy wake up from the sleep with a gasp, but why did she remember those things all of a sudden? But come to think of it, in that final match, Dorothy wonder if Ray did his utmost to fight her. Did he even defeat her? Seriously, did Dorothy really beat Ray, or was it that Ray intentionally lost to her? Then she remembered her dream and said back then, did she rely on own skills to kill Ray and take the throne? No one else remembers anything, so how come she's the only one who returned like that? Then she sleep again. Raymond's genuine concern for Dorothy led him to approach her room, seeking reassurance about her well-being. As he inquired if she was awake, Dorothy seemed puzzled by his unexpected presence, questioning the reason for his visit. In response, Raymond explained that he had heard a sound emanating from her room, sparking worry in his heart that she might be in pain or distress, hindering her ability to find restful sleep. His sincere desire to alleviate any discomfort she might be facing prompted him to offer his steadfast companionship, vowing to stay by her side until she could find solace in slumber. Although Dorothy insisted that she was fine, Raymond's determination to fulfill his promise remained unshaken. He had pledged his unwavering support and devotion to her, and he was resolute in keeping that commitment. His actions spoke volumes about the depth of his love and affection for her, going beyond mere words to demonstrate the genuine care he held for Dorothy. Throughout the tranquil moments that followed, Raymond maintained his comforting presence, embracing the role of a guardian, watching over Dorothy with genuine care. His commitment to her well-being knew no boundaries, and his unwavering resolve to ensure her comfort and peace of mind showcased the strength of their bond. In the serene embrace of the night, the depth of Raymond's feelings for Dorothy became more apparent, illuminating the profound connection they shared. The trust that existed between them served as a solid foundation for the unwavering support they provided for one another, standing as pillars of strength in times of vulnerability. It was evident that Raymond's presence alone offered Dorothy a sense of security and comfort, knowing that he would always be there to provide solace and protection. The depth of his love extended beyond mere words, as his actions spoke volumes, reinforcing his promise to be her steadfast rock, always present to offer care and support in every circumstance. In their shared journey, the bond between Raymond and Dorothy flourished, woven with tenderness and sincerity, blossoming into a love that transcended mere words, creating a lasting connection that would withstand the tests of time. Their hearts entwined, they embarked on this adventure together, embracing the power of love to conquer any obstacle that lay ahead. Then Raymond asked that did she ever wish that she could see Mom again. She replied no. Then Raymond said that but he still miss her from time to time. Dorothy expressed her apology since it's her fault that their mom died. Raymond said what did she mean? Because their mom died while giving birth to Raymond. If he hadn't been born, then her, Mom, and Cardon, the three of them might have lived a happily ever after. But he's always thankful that Dorothy is around. Dorothy replied what in awe. Then Raymond continued that she might say that he's an idiot of an older brother, but he know this much at least. Then Dorothy said Mom never regretted giving birth to him. She continued that Her Majesty the Empress passed away while giving birth to the princess, and she's sure the Emperor must have been devastated. Who could have imagined that she would turn out to be such a tyrant? Then Raymond replied that he can only pity the late Empress, and continued that it's not her fault that Mother passed away. Dorothy said that something that just happened, just like how he saved her and how he came here when she couldn't fall asleep. Then he asked Dorothy if it is okay for her to come back again to see her. Then she asked come back to see her. Then she remembered that the villa was never hers to begin with. It was meant to be used freely by any member of the imperial court for the purpose of recuperation. She continued that it's not like he needs her permission or anything, but she'll think about it. After a while Raymond slept off. Then Dorothy told him to go and sleep in his own, but he climbed Dorothy's bed and slept off, which is not what Dorothy mean. The next morning when a lady came in and said, "Your Highness, it's time to get up." Then she saw both of them sleeping together. The lady was so amazed, and she said no matter what people say, both Dorothy and Raymond still pretty close. In the morning Raymond offered Dorothy hot tea for her to drink. Then when she drank a little out of it, Dorothy said it's bitter, and then she continued that Raymond steeped it for too long. Raymond replied that he's sorry, he will make it again. When Dorothy was cold she called Raymond, and Raymond get her a blanket. Dorothy's mind wandered back to a moment when Raymond had made a seemingly casual offer. He had said that if there was anything she found inconvenient, she should just let him know, and he would take care of it. At the time, she hadn't taken his words too seriously, doubting he would truly follow through on such promises. Yet now, she found herself sitting before him, thinking about how he lacked the dignity of a future emperor. Nevertheless, she mustered the courage to call upon him once more, asking for a pen, ink, and an abundance of paper. With the requested items in hand, she explained to Raymond that her hand was incapable of writing properly, and she needed him to write on her behalf. Raymond, ever obliging, took a seat and attentively listened as Dorothy instructed him. She wanted him to write, in large letters, Disciplines of Kingship at the top of the paper. Following that, in medium-sized letters, he was to inscribe first chapter, Millennial Imperial Family Tree. Finally, in smaller letters, she wanted him to continue with the words, The first millennial emperor was able to control the spirit of light. Curiosity piqued. Raymond couldn't help but ask Dorothy why they were suddenly engrossed in recording the Disciplines of Kingship. In response, she simply stated that she enjoyed studying, leaving him to wonder about the significance of their undertaking. As the words flowed from his hand, he realized that he was being drawn into an unexpected journey, one where the mysteries of kingship would unfold before them both. Little did they know where this journey would lead, but together they ventured forth, seeking knowledge, wisdom, and perhaps even the secrets of ancient rulers. As the hours passed, Raymond found himself engrossed in the task of writing down the Disciplines of Kingship. Despite initially questioning why he was the one studying, he couldn't deny the sense of purpose he felt in assisting Dorothy with her quest for knowledge. With each stroke of the pen, he realized that his involvement went beyond merely being a helper. He was becoming an active participant in unraveling the mysteries of kingship. Dorothy's throat began to bother her, making it difficult for her to continue speaking. She encouraged Raymond to carry on, seeing this as an opportunity to deepen his understanding and take ownership of their shared endeavor. The more they delved into the texts and the wisdom they contained, the more they became aware of the profound bond forming between them. In a moment of vulnerability, Raymond opened up to Dorothy, expressing how he often felt like she was the older sibling in their dynamic. He admired her determination, her curiosity, and the wisdom she possessed beyond her years. He confided that he disliked being alone, but with her, he felt a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. Dorothy listened attentively, touched by his sincerity. She admitted that she sometimes felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, but having Raymond by her side made the journey easier to bear. She appreciated his support and companionship, realizing that their shared experiences were forging a bond that transcended the ordinary. As the night wore on, their conversation flowed effortlessly. They exchanged stories, dreams, and aspirations, finding common ground in their pursuit of knowledge and understanding. They discovered that their strengths complemented each other, and their weaknesses faded away when they joined forces. The hours turned into dawn, and yet neither of them noticed the passage of time. They were too immersed in the world of kings, emperors, and the ancient disciplines that shaped their destinies. With each passing moment, their bond deepened, and a sense of camaraderie grew stronger. In the days that followed, they continued their studies together, forging an unbreakable alliance of minds and hearts. The pursuit of knowledge had not only brought them closer, but had also instilled within them a profound sense of purpose and determination to uncover the truths hidden within the scrolls. United in their quest for understanding, Dorothy and Raymond embarked on a remarkable journey, a journey that would not only transform their lives but also the course of history itself. As they navigated the challenges that lay ahead, they knew that they could rely on each other, and together they would conquer the unknown, just as the first millennial emperor had once controlled the spirit of light. The food was almost ready, and Her Highness would be pleased to know that some delicious soup had been prepared specifically for her. The aroma filled the air, promising a delightful feast fit for royalty. But she can't be too sure, but the soup still lacks a little something. While everyone was busy doing the work, the lady calls Sir Stefan and he tastes the soup. After Stefan has tasted the soup, he kept quiet for a while. Then the lady began to think that the soup is not good. Realizing she had to start over from scratch, the lady felt a sense of determination welling up inside her. However, amidst her disappointment, Stefan's compliment about the tasty soup caught her off guard, and a mixture of surprise and happiness lit up her face. Overwhelmed with joy, she thanked him sincerely for the kind words. As the conversation continued, the lady explained that she had initially thought the soup was unsatisfactory because of Stefan's silence while eating. Just as she was recounting the incident, a sudden mishap occurred, and she accidentally spilled some of the soup on Stefan's clothes. Profusely apologetic, she hurriedly fetched a cloth and helped him clean the unintended mess. Meanwhile, Dorothy stirred awake from her slumber, and with the morning sun illuminating the world, she stepped outside to admire the picturesque view. Amidst the tranquility of the moment, a thought crossed her mind. Ethan was planning to pay her a visit. The anticipation of his arrival brought a hint of excitement, and she eagerly awaited the moment when they would be reunited. Without knowing that Ethan was at her back, Ethan apologized for the delay in visiting her. Dorothy said it's fine and it's not like Ethan had anything to do with her injuries. Ethan replied that he was quite worried though, because Dorothy's injury might have an adverse effect on her swordsmanship which she loves so much. Dorothy said she didn't break her arm, that it's just a fracture, and she should be back to normal once it fully mends. Then Ethan said that the breeze feels chilly, aren't she cold? Dorothy said she's a little, but it feels refreshing. But she's not at full health right now, so she need to be more cautious. After a while with their conversations, Ethan gave Dorothy a small gift which surprised Dorothy. Ethan said the incident happened only because the Bront family didn't prepare sufficiently, so how could he possibly come empty-handed? When Dorothy opened the gift, it was a handkerchief. Then she remembered that she used to carry a handkerchief like this in her previous life. Then she asked Ethan where he got it from. Ethan said he had it custom made. After their heartfelt exchange, Ethan mustered the courage to express a deeply personal request to Dorothy. With sincerity shining in his eyes, he humbly asked for a favor, hoping she would consider granting it. Touched by his vulnerability, Dorothy listened attentively and, without hesitation, graciously agreed to fulfill his wish. In response to Dorothy's kind acceptance, Ethan Bront took to pen and paper, crafting a beautifully heartfelt message. He carefully composed his words, wanting to convey his sincerest wishes for her. May you shine brilliantly after a long period of darkness, solely for Dorothy, a millionaire, he wrote, a poetic tribute to the essence of her being. As she read those words, a warm smile graced her face, touched by the depth of his sentiment and the eloquence of his expression. The poetic charm of his message tugged at her heartstrings, and she couldn't help but chuckle, charmed by his romantic gesture. Time passed like a gentle breeze, and a month later, Dorothy found herself in her chambers, eagerly opening a letter that bore her title, Her Highness, expecting to hear from her dear friend Raymond. She was taken aback when she realized the sender was none other than the imperial court. Her curiosity piqued, and a wave of confusion washed over her. She wondered what could have transpired within the grand halls of the empire to prompt such a formal and unexpected correspondence. With trembling hands, she unfolded the letter, her eyes scanning the words with utmost attention. The contents of the letter unveiled a mysterious message, written in regal script, veiling its true purpose in layers of official language. Dorothy's mind raced with questions, trying to decipher the intentions behind the words on the parchment. Uncertainty loomed over her, leaving her both intrigued and apprehensive about what lay ahead. As the day gave way to evening, she pondered the possibilities, preparing herself for the unknown journey that awaited her beyond the horizon. As she delicately opened the letter, Dorothy's eyes scanned its contents with curiosity. The words revealed that a member of the esteemed Hark royal family would soon be gracing their humble abode, and it was she who would be tasked with hosting this distinguished guest. A sense of excitement and responsibility swelled within her, knowing the significance of such an event. Memories from her past life resurfaced, reminding her of the journey that had brought her to this moment. Once, she had ascended to the throne, becoming the ruler of the Ubra Empire, and during her reign, she had led the kingdom to unprecedented expansion, reaching its greatest size in history. However, this prosperity had come at a cost, and Hark had unwittingly become a pawn in the process. Her mind raced back to a particular incident, the memory of which was vividly etched in her consciousness. It was Ethan Bront, the catalyst behind Hark's involvement. Lady Monica, the fiancée of Hark's prince and heir to the throne, had fallen for Ethan, sparking a chain of events that would forever change the course of their lives. The complexities of emotions swirled within Dorothy as she contemplated the intertwinement of her past and present. It was a reminder of the powerful connections and relationships that could shape destinies, drawing together individuals from different realms and backgrounds. As she prepared to host the Hark royal family member, she realized the gravity of the occasion. It presented an opportunity for diplomacy, reconciliation, and forging alliances. No longer the ruler driven by ambition alone, Dorothy now embraced the role of a compassionate and diplomatic leader, mindful of the impact her actions could have on others. Her heart filled with a sense of responsibility, determination, and understanding. Hosting the guests from Hark signified not just an official engagement but an opportunity to mend the fragments of the past and pave the way for a future built on understanding and mutual respect. In the delicate dance of diplomacy and personal histories, Dorothy was now poised to navigate the intricacies of hosting the royal visitor. Embracing the lessons of her past, she vowed to approach the encounter with grace, wisdom, and an open heart, for in doing so, she could potentially shape the destinies of those connected to her through bonds that transcended time and place. The Monica family had been pursuing a political marriage with Prince Nereus, but Ethan ended up getting in the way. While Ethan was enjoying himself and putting on the charm the people want to call off their engagement that they don't want sell herself for the sake of the marriage. Ultimately, Lady Monica broke her engagement to Nereus, saying that even if Ethan didn't choose her she wouldn't want to enter into a loveless marriage. In his anger, Nereus blamed Ethan as the main culprit behind it all as days turned into weeks. Nereus' relentless pursuit of Ethan grew more fervent, fueled by a deep-seated animosity, disdain, and envy that seemed to know no bounds. Each encounter with Ethan presented an opportunity for Nereus to unleash his pent-up emotions, making it clear that his grievances were far from subsiding. Meanwhile, in another corner of the city, Dorothy, a close confidante of Ethan, felt compelled to intervene. Aware of the tense situation between Nereus and Ethan, she devised a plan to divert Nereus' attention. Even if temporarily, she requested Clara, her loyal and resourceful assistant, to prepare her carriage for a journey to the Bront family. Curious about the purpose of this sudden trip, Clara inquired about their destination. With a hint of mystery in her voice, Dorothy revealed her intention to visit the Bront family, a gesture that raised eyebrows given the long-standing feud between the Bronts and Ethan's circle. As the wheels of the carriage rolled along the cobblestone streets, Dorothy couldn't help but wonder how this visit would unfold. Arriving at the Bront house, she was met with an air of surprise as Ethan himself opened the door, clearly taken aback by her presence. Offering a warm welcome, Ethan ushered her inside, where the aroma of freshly brewed tea filled the air. They settled into the cozy parlor, and as they sipped the soothing tea, conversation flowed freely. Dorothy, addressing Ethan with respect as Your Highness, broached the topic of the ongoing strife with Nereus. In the ensuing hours, they engaged in a heartfelt discussion, exploring the root of the conflict and searching for possible resolutions. Dorothy spoke with sincerity, her words carrying the weight of genuine concern for both Ethan and Nereus. Finally, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Dorothy made a special request of Ethan, an appeal that could potentially pave the way for reconciliation and understanding. She implored him to consider finding common ground, to extend an olive branch, and to seek a path towards reconciliation. Amidst the flickering candlelight, their words lingered in the air, and the fate of their future interactions rested on the choices they would make in the days to come. The meeting at the Bront house had set in motion a delicate dance between adversaries, and only time would tell if a new chapter of understanding and forgiveness could be written. In her past life, Princess Dorothy bore the heavy weight of loneliness, her heart yearning for a partner or an escort to share her journey. The imperial court had deemed it necessary to assign her the role of the imperial princess's companion, but the position carried an air of undesirability that most people shunned. This resulted in a lack of volunteers willing to fill the position, leaving Dorothy feeling isolated and disheartened amidst the court's lavish gatherings. Amidst the prevailing reluctance, a glimmer of hope emerged in the form of Ray, a compassionate and understanding friend. Empathizing with Dorothy's predicament, he saw an opportunity to alleviate her solitude and recommended his own friend, Theon, to fill the vacant role. Although Theon had his reservations, he couldn't ignore the heartfelt request from his friend and the official decree from the imperial court, compelling him to become Dorothy's escort. With reluctant determination, Theon took up the mantle of being Dorothy's escort, unaware of the profound impact this seemingly ordinary decision would have on both their lives. What began as a duty and formality soon evolved into something far deeper and more meaningful. In each other's presence, they found an unexpected source of solace, understanding, and camaraderie that gradually fostered an unbreakable bond. As they danced together at the opulent gatherings, the princess and her escort discovered an innate connection that defied explanation. Theon's initial reluctance gave way to genuine affection, and Dorothy's heart blossomed with an all-encompassing love she had never experienced before. Fate had intertwined their paths, and they found themselves drawn to each other's essence, transcending the societal norms and expectations that had previously held them back. Their unfolding love story became an extraordinary testament to the power of authentic emotions and the beauty of unexpected beginnings. Despite the challenges and pressures surrounding their relationship, Dorothy and Theon held steadfast, cherishing every fleeting moment they spent together. Their love illuminated the darkness of a world filled with complexities, becoming a beacon of hope for those who dared to follow their hearts. It was a tale that resonated beyond the confines of time, celebrating love's triumphant spirit over adversity, and epitomizing the courage of two souls who defied fate and embraced each other in the purest form of love. As Dorothy reminisced about that fateful moment when she first fell in love, she couldn't help but wonder if it had been the catalyst for all the misfortunes that followed in her life. Gazing into the distance, she tried to imagine the expression on the face of the person she had loved back then, reflecting on what she believed to be the happiest period of her life. However, Dorothy couldn't definitively say that she was loved in return during those days, but at the same time, she didn't feel hated either. Soon after, events took a different turn as Carnon, in his bid to forge a connection with the prestigious Fried family, pushed for Dorothy's engagement with Theon. The idea troubled her, and it felt unsettling to witness Ethan behaving in a manner that seemed forced. Nonetheless, she recognized the positive intent behind his offer to be her escort, acknowledging that it might be a silver lining in an otherwise challenging situation. Besides, she couldn't foresee anyone else volunteering to dance with her, considering the intricacies of her current circumstances. In the present, Dorothy found solace in the fact that she wouldn't be bound by an engagement to Theon in this lifetime, nor would she be married to him against her will. The prospect of forging her own path brought a glimmer of hope amidst the uncertainties that surrounded her. As days passed, a significant event occurred when Prince Nereus Ponce of the Hark royal family paid a visit to Dorothy. The occasion called for formal introductions as he addressed her as Your Highness, followed by the presentation of Dorothy as Imperial Princess Dorothea Millionaire of Ubera. The encounter marked a pivotal moment, carrying potential implications for the future of both kingdoms. Amidst the intricate web of politics and emotions, Dorothy navigated her royal obligations with grace and poise, concealing her inner turmoil behind a facade befitting a princess. Behind the polished demeanor, she continued to ponder the intricacies of her heart, grappling with the past, the present, and the future that lay ahead. As the unpredictable tides of destiny swirled around her, Dorothy braced herself for the challenges and revelations that awaited her, determined to seize control of her fate in whatever way she could. Dorothy said to herself to relax and keep an open mind cause they both need to maintain good relationship with each other after all. Then Nereus began to say offensive words to the princess, which princess became angry, and she said, "Why did he think she came here?" She continued that this sort of fundamental common sense and manners should have been drilled into him before he started attending episteme. After a while the heated argument had begun. Dorothy won, then they sat down and Nereus challenged her to a single match. The match began and Dorothy had already have a chance to defeat him, but she was pushed into the water by Nereus. But fortunately she cut through the water and came out of the water. Nereus was surprised, and then Dorothy later defeated him. Dorothy wanted to file a protest towards Hark governance, but Dorothy said she's alright. As Clara approached Dorothy, she expressed her concern in a gentle tone, addressing her as Your Highness and inquiring about her well-being. However, Dorothy assured Clara that she was perfectly fine, dismissing any potential signs of distress. Despite this reassurance, Clara couldn't shake her worry and considered the need to call a doctor to examine her friend. But Dorothy remained adamant, insisting that there was no need for medical attention. In the midst of their conversation, Dorothy's inner turmoil became evident. She questioned herself, wondering why she had invested so much effort in her recent victory if winning held no significance to her, pondering whether her motivation had been to prove something to others or to assert her dominance over their lives and ambitions. She found herself grappling with the complex emotions that had driven her actions, feeling the weight of the sword she held, a symbol of her prowess and struggles. Dorothy contemplated setting it aside for a while. The burden of constant competition and the desire to achieve greatness had taken a toll on her, leaving her feeling conflicted and drained. Clara attentively listened to her friend's introspective musings, understanding the weight of the battles Dorothy had fought, not just on the battlefield but within herself. As Dorothy pondered her future path, Clara offered her a comforting presence, knowing that sometimes it was essential to take a step back and reevaluate one's purpose and goals. The castle's corridors echoed with the profound questions that Dorothy posed, and Clara could see the vulnerability behind her confident facade. She understood that Dorothy's journey had been marked by both triumphs and sacrifices, and now, her introspection led her to question the very essence of her pursuits. In this moment of vulnerability, Clara knew that she had to be there for Dorothy, supporting her friend as she grappled with her emotions and decisions. She realized that sometimes, the true strength lay in knowing when to pause, to reassess, and to find inner peace before resuming the path forward. As the two friends continued their conversation, the castle's ambience seemed to soften, as if echoing Dorothy's thoughts. In this introspective moment, they found solace in each other's company, knowing that through their bond, they would navigate the complexities of life together. And as Dorothy contemplated putting down the sword for a while, Clara silently vowed to stand by her side, providing unwavering support and understanding whenever needed. When Ethan came, he was shocked. Then he asked her if she's alright, and then Ethan apologized for barging in abruptly like that. He was so worried when he heard that she was injured. As the conversation unfolded, Dorothy's voice resonated with unwavering assurance as she declared her well-being and brushed off the encounter with the spirit of water, considering it as nothing more than a chance happening. However, others present in the room couldn't help but notice the underlying tension that loomed over the realm of Ubera. They sensed a foreboding possibility of Hark, a formidable figure, making a power play and potentially taking control of the land. Despite Dorothy's commendable triumph over Nereus, the defeated opponent possessed a rare and potent ability, the mastery to command an elemental spirit. Such a skill could grant him immense influence and sway over the very fabric of nature. As a result, it seemed inevitable that Nereus might lay claim to the throne, raising the concerns of those who favored Dorothy's cause. In the midst of these concerns, Dorothy's demeanor took a somber turn. She confided her apprehensions to her close confidants, expressing deep-seated fears of remaining insignificant and overlooked, much like her past life. Her journey had been one of relentless struggles, and despite her recent victory, the anxiety of being overshadowed by others haunted her mind. As allies and foes alike observed the unfolding events, they couldn't help but wonder about the fate of Ubera and its potential future ruler. The stakes were high, and the struggle for the throne promised to be a battle of not just physical strength, but also the strength of one's character and determination. Only time would reveal how the complex web of destinies would unfurl and decide the ultimate fate of Ubera and its individuals, including Dorothy and Nereus. As Ethan observed the concern etched on Dorothy's face, he felt a deep sense of responsibility to uplift her spirits. Swiftly, he reached for a nearby violin, its wooden frame glistening under the ambient light. Ethan began to play a tender melody, skillfully coaxing the strings to produce a soothing symphony that filled the room with an aura of tranquility and comfort. Dorothy's tense countenance softened, and a subtle smile danced upon her lips, a testament to the emotional connection the music forged. The enchanting tune not only affected Dorothy but also captivated everyone present, including curious onlookers who paused their activities to immerse themselves in the respite of the moment. However, the serenity was fleeting, for a sudden ominous presence cast a shadow upon the gathering. Nereus, an enigmatic figure, was advancing toward them. Intuition guided Dorothy as she quickly grasped Ethan's hand, leading him to a hidden alcove where they could evade Nereus's watchful eyes. The young violinist's heart raced, sensing that Nereus's approach signaled potential danger or a critical revelation. As the moon cast a silvery glow over the ancient courtyard, Nereus and his companions concealed themselves behind marble pillars, their eyes fixated on Dorothy, who stood at the center of the open space. Nereus, always exuding an aura of formality, stepped forward with calculated steps, his tall figure cutting through the darkness. With a voice that held both authority and respect, Nereus addressed Dorothy, the words carrying a weight of importance. "Her Majesty, the King, wishes to extend a most sincere invitation to you, dear Dorothy," he said, his tone measured and composed. "It is an invitation to a grand dinner banquet, a gesture intended as an apology for the regrettable events that marred our prior encounter." Dorothy's eyes widened in astonishment as she processed the unexpected message. The king himself was offering an olive branch, seeking to mend the tensions that had arisen between them. She couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation at the prospect of attending such a significant event. But Nereus had more to share. In addition to the king's presence, Duke Bront, a man of great influence and power, shall also grace the banquet, he continued. His presence serves not only as a testament to the king's sincerity, but also as a way to foster understanding and goodwill between our realms. As the words settled in, Dorothy's mind raced with thoughts of what this dinner banquet might entail. What secrets would she uncover? What conversations would she have with the king and the esteemed Duke Bront? The gravity of the situation wasn't lost on her, and she knew that attending this event could have far-reaching implications. Nereus stood there, awaiting Dorothy's response, his expression a blend of anticipation and hope. He hoped that she would accept the king's invitation and recognize it as an opportunity for reconciliation and diplomacy. For Nereus and his companions, the future of their kingdom hung in the balance, and they believed that Dorothy's presence at the banquet could be the first step towards bridging the divide between their worlds. Dorothy found herself torn by hesitation, her mind grappling with doubts and uncertainties. The king's intentions remained enigmatic, and her apprehension grew at the thought of facing Duke Bront. Nonetheless, she recognized the weight of the situation and the need to navigate this political maze with care and diplomacy. The impending decision weighed heavily on Dorothy and Ethan, both aware of the banquet's potential consequences for the future of Ubera. In this complex political landscape, every move carried repercussions, and they understood the gravity of their choices. In spite of her reservations, Dorothy eventually acquiesced to attend the banquet, realizing the necessity of diplomacy and etiquette when dealing with the royal family. Still, her heart remained burdened by caution and unease as the evening approached, for she couldn't shake the notion that this seemingly innocuous invitation might hold far-reaching implications for her destiny and the fate of Ubera. As they strolled along the path leading to the grand dinner banquet, Nerea's sister wore a somber expression, burdened by a distressing family matter she couldn't bear to keep to herself any longer. With a heavy heart, she shared the unfortunate truth. Their father had fallen into dire financial straits and had incurred a significant debt owed to the powerful castle lord. To her dismay, their father's inability to repay the debt led the castle lord to make a harsh demand. Both Nereus and his sister must toil in the treacherous mine as a form of compensation. The mere thought of her younger brother and herself facing the perils of the mine sent shivers down her spine. The dark, damp confines of the mine were known to be a dangerous place, claiming the lives of many who dared to work there. She dreaded the prospect of such a fate befalling them, and her concern for their safety weighed heavily on her heart. In the privacy of their chambers, the princess confided in her trusted companion, Dorothy. Her voice quivered with emotion as she shared the weight of her worries, seeking comfort and counsel from the empathetic soul that Dorothy was. As the princess poured out her heart, Dorothy listened attentively, her kind eyes offering solace and understanding. With a furrowed brow, Dorothy's mind delved into the intricacies of the situation, her thoughts racing to identify the castle lord responsible for the unjust decree that troubled her dear friend. She knew that uncovering the truth behind this decree was essential to righting the wrongs and bringing justice to those affected. As a close confidante to the royal family, Dorothy understood the significance of her role in this delicate matter. She recognized that her actions could have far-reaching consequences for the kingdom's future, and she felt the weight of responsibility resting on her shoulders. Determined to uncover the truth, Dorothy began her discreet investigation, seeking information from trusted sources and carefully piecing together the puzzle. Her compassion and shrewdness made her a respected figure among the castle staff, allowing her to gain valuable insights without raising suspicion. As days turned into nights, Dorothy tirelessly pursued the truth, leaving no stone unturned in her quest for justice. Along the way, she encountered various challenges and unforeseen obstacles, but her unwavering determination and unwavering loyalty to the princess fueled her resolve. Through her tireless efforts, Dorothy's investigation gradually unraveled the tangled web of intrigue surrounding the unjust decree. She discovered the castle lord responsible for this act of injustice, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the court and beyond. With the truth finally unveiled, Dorothy presented her findings to the princess, who marveled at her friend's dedication and tenacity. The bond between them grew stronger as the princess realized she had a true ally in Dorothy, someone who not only listened and empathized but also took action when it mattered the most. Together, the princess and Dorothy embarked on a journey to right the wrongs and rectify the injustice that had befallen their kingdom. Their collaboration marked the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with resilience, camaraderie, and the unwavering pursuit of justice that would leave a lasting legacy for generations to come. Count Duncan, a formidable figure known for his stern demeanor and unwavering pursuit of owed debts, came to mind. His reputation as the proprietor of the perilous mines only added to Dorothy's growing concern for Nereus and his sister. Dorothy knew that immediate action was needed to alleviate their predicament. The determination to help her friends filled her heart as she devised a plan to approach Count Duncan. She knew it wouldn't be an easy task to negotiate with the stern lord, but she was ready to face the challenge head-on. Her resolve strengthened. Dorothy vowed to stand by Nereus and his sister, offering them the support they needed during these trying times. With determination in her eyes, she reassured Nereus' sister that they would find a way to protect her family and ensure their safety, even if it meant facing the formidable Count and his demands. As the evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the land, Dorothy and her companions made their way to the dinner banquet. Alongside Nereus' sister, she braced herself for the encounter with Count Duncan, ready to fight for justice and secure a brighter future for her dear friends. Their journey had just begun, and little did they know, the trials ahead would test their bonds and resilience. But they were determined to face whatever challenges lay in their path with unwavering courage and compassion. They say that small-bodied kids are needed to work inside the mines, kids who have no money or power of their own forced to do such hard labor. Then Dorothy said fine, she will save her family but not her father, but only her brother plus a condition. When Dorothy got to the mine, she gave a man a chest of gold. As the man stood before the Highness, he couldn't help but question the reason behind such generous offerings bestowed upon him. With grace, she responded, explaining that the gifts were, in fact, a form of payment for the money owed to him by none other than Mr. Gert, a resident of the Black Village. Intrigued, the man asked if she meant the same gambler who had borrowed 500 blancs. The Highness nodded, confirming his suspicions. She went on to reveal that Mr. Gert's debt extended far beyond the initial sum, totaling around 3,000 blancs, with interest accrued over time. Satisfied with her explanation, the man couldn't believe his fortune, realizing that the amount offered to him would not only clear the outstanding debt but also leave him with some extra funds. In the midst of this conversation, Dorothy, who had been listening attentively, spoke up with a kind and compassionate heart. She expressed her noble desire to utilize the surplus money to help other children toiling away in the treacherous mine, struggling with their own debts. Her selflessness touched the hearts of those present, and the Highness couldn't help but admire her empathy and determination to make a difference. As promised, arrangements were made, and Dorothy was led to a secret location where she encountered the children she had set out to rescue. The sight of their innocent faces and their labor-worn bodies stirred a sense of urgency within her. With a sense of purpose, she gathered them close, embracing them like a protective guardian. In this moment of unity and care, Dorothy opened her heart and offered the children not only food and nourishment but also hope for a better future. As days passed, she tirelessly worked to alleviate their debts, ensuring they could escape the clutches of their oppressive circumstances and embark on a new journey of possibilities. Word of Dorothy's benevolence and the Highness's kindness spread throughout the Black Village, inspiring a newfound sense of community and compassion. Together, they rallied to support the children's education, healthcare, and overall well-being, transforming their lives for the better. The man who initially questioned the generous offerings found himself changed by the experience. Witnessing the ripple effect of kindness and the power of empathy, he, too, joined forces with the Highness and Dorothy, becoming an advocate for the betterment of their village. In the end, the actions of one brave and caring soul, backed by the compassion of a wise and benevolent Highness, illuminated the path to a brighter future for the children and the entire community of the Black Village. The bond they forged would forever be etched in the annals of their shared history, serving as a reminder of the strength that lies within us when we choose to stand together in unity and love. The recipients of Her Highness' extraordinary generosity were genuinely overwhelmed by the depth of her kindness. As Dorothy spent more time with them, she not only showered them with lavish material comforts but also forged a heartfelt connection with each individual. They shared personal stories, laughed together, and embraced a newfound camaraderie that surpassed mere charity. Her Highness spared no expense in treating them to a culinary experience that transcended their wildest dreams. Every meal became a grand feast, fit for royalty, featuring an array of mouth-watering delicacies from various corners of the world. The recipients were left in awe, their taste buds dancing with delight as they savored the finest cuisine they had ever encountered. Dorothy's genuine affection and unwavering care for these people became an inspiration for her to go the extra mile in ensuring their happiness. Selflessly, she offered them all kinds of food she had, driven by the desire to witness the sheer joy radiating from their faces. Despite her elevated status and immense wealth, her humility and understanding of the profound value of compassion and human connection remained steadfast. As the sun steadily arced across the sky, painting the world in golden hues, Ethan embarked on the journey to his dear friend Dorothy's majestic and opulent residence. Their friendship had endured for years, and he always looked forward to visiting her, knowing that each encounter would be filled with warmth and kindness. As Ethan approached the grand estate, a sense of excitement filled his heart. He had heard tales of Dorothy's boundless generosity and the remarkable work she did in her community, but seeing it firsthand was an entirely different experience. Upon entering the ornate halls, he was greeted by the sound of laughter and joy echoing through the rooms. To his pleasant surprise, Ethan found himself surrounded by a group of children, their faces alight with happiness and gratitude. These were the same children whose lives had been touched by Dorothy's benevolence. Their eyes sparkled with appreciation as they recounted the countless ways Dorothy had made a positive impact on their lives. Witnessing the genuine happiness in the children's eyes, Ethan was deeply moved. He felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for having such a compassionate and caring friend in his life. It wasn't just the material gifts Dorothy bestowed upon them that touched Ethan's heart, but the genuine love and concern she showered upon these young souls that left a lasting impression. As he spent time with the children, listening to their stories of hope and triumph, Ethan's admiration for Dorothy grew even stronger. He saw how she had not only provided them with material comfort but had also become a pillar of support and a source of inspiration. Dorothy had empowered these children to dream big and pursue their goals with unwavering determination. Amidst the laughter and camaraderie, Ethan's own heart swelled with a desire to contribute to this circle of love and kindness. Watching Dorothy's selfless actions, Ethan couldn't help but be moved and inspired. He realized that he, too, had the power to make a difference in someone's life, just as Dorothy had done for these children. Her kindness and compassion had left an indelible impression on him, igniting a newfound determination to seek out opportunities to give back to the community and extend a helping hand to those in need. With a sense of purpose and gratitude, Ethan vowed to follow in Dorothy's footsteps, embracing her example as a guiding light in his own life. He knew that the world could use more people like her, who cared deeply for others and took meaningful actions to improve lives. As the day drew to a close, Ethan bid farewell to the children with a warm smile and a heart filled with a sense of fulfillment. He couldn't express enough gratitude to Dorothy for allowing him to be a part of such a meaningful experience. The joy and gratitude he witnessed in the children's eyes were a testament to the impact of their shared efforts. Walking alongside Dorothy, Ethan expressed his admiration for her unwavering dedication and generosity. He thanked her for showing him the true essence of empathy and the beauty of lending a helping hand without expecting anything in return. Dorothy humbly accepted Ethan's words, acknowledging that the joy of giving was its own reward. She shared stories of her own journey, the challenges she had faced, and the profound fulfillment she experienced by being of service to others. As they strolled together, the setting sun cast a warm glow over the horizon, symbolizing the hope that their combined efforts had brought to the children and the community. Ethan felt a deep sense of connection with Dorothy, recognizing that their shared desire to make the world a better place had brought them together as kindred spirits. In the days that followed, Ethan actively sought opportunities to contribute to the community, volunteering his time and resources to various causes close to his heart. He knew that he was just one person, but he believed that collective acts of kindness and generosity could create ripples of positive change, echoing far beyond what they could ever imagine. As time went on, Ethan and Dorothy's paths continued to intertwine, and together they touched the lives of many, leaving behind a legacy of compassion, love, and hope. Their journey of giving became an inspiration to others, inspiring a wave of kindness that spread through the community like a gentle breeze, transforming lives and hearts along the way. With a renewed sense of purpose and a heart filled with gratitude, he left Her Highness' residence, knowing that this day would remain etched in his memory as a testament to the power of compassion and the beauty of friendship. Together, Dorothy and Ethan dedicated the day to cherishing the company of these children, immersing themselves in moments that would be etched in their memories forever. This experience reinforced the significance of giving back and sharing love with others in need. It served as a poignant reminder that acts of kindness, no matter how small or grand, possess the power to create a profound and lasting difference in the lives of those they touch. The impact of this beautiful day would resonate within the hearts of everyone involved, instilling a renewed sense of compassion and a commitment to making the world a better place. The children, eager to express their kindness, sought Dorothy's attention. They approached her with genuine sincerity, explaining that they simply wanted to do something special for her. With great care and thoughtfulness, they had prepared a delightful treat for Dorothy, consisting of strawberries and raspberries. Overwhelmed by the children's sweet gesture, Dorothy was deeply moved. Never before had anyone expressed such heartfelt intentions towards her. Touched by their genuine affection and generosity, she felt a surge of emotions welling up inside. The fact that the children were willing to go out of their way to do something for her touched her heart in a profound way. Grateful and touched, Dorothy choked back tears of joy as she thanked the children for their lovely gift and kind words. Their act of selflessness left a lasting impact on her, instilling in her a newfound determination to reciprocate their love and support. From that moment onward, she vowed to give her best not only to the children but to all those around her, cherishing the warmth of their love and friendship. Then she saw Joey's handkerchief. Then Dorothy asked Joey where she got the handkerchief from. Joey replied that the water was dripping after he rinsed the fruits and he didn't want to make the basket to get wet, so he laid it on the bottom, but she has no idea what it is. Dorothy said this isn't just any old handkerchief. Dorothy continued and said he should have put a tray or something else underneath. Then she said they should not lay hands on other people's belongings and they shouldn't enter other people's rooms without permission either. In a sincere tone, Joey offered his heartfelt apologies, assuring everyone that his actions were never meant to cause harm. The young master had earlier suggested that Her Highness would delight in having some snacks, prompting Joey and the others to consider how they could contribute to her enjoyment. They genuinely wanted to do something nice for her and, therefore, thoughtfully offered their advice. Meanwhile, Ethan chimed in with a recommendation to place something at the bottom, possibly to prevent water spillage or leakage. However, this suggestion was met with a denial as Dorothy swiftly intervened. With a sharp slap to Ethan's cheek, she questioned him, asking if he would continue to make excuses for his actions. The atmosphere in the room became tense as everyone observed the unfolding situation. The group now faced a delicate moment, unsure of how to proceed. Joey anxiously hoped that his apology would be accepted and that they could find a way to mend the situation. Ethan, a charismatic and affluent young man, found himself taken aback by Dorothy's unexpected reaction. Her swift slap and stern questioning left him feeling somewhat disoriented and pensive. He paused, contemplating his words more carefully, wondering if his unusual hobby had finally caught up with him. In the past, Ethan had burst into high society with a splash, making an unforgettable impression on those around him. With his charm, wit, and a touch of arrogance, he effortlessly captivated the attention of the elite. However, as time went on, a peculiar inclination had taken root within him, a secretive penchant for dropping his possessions at opportune moments. The odd habit served a deeper purpose for Ethan. In the midst of his mesmerizing performances, a distinct air of grandeur would envelop him, filling him with an intoxicating sense of superiority. With each graceful movement and artful execution of his act, he effortlessly captivated the hearts of onlookers, particularly noble ladies who found themselves entranced by his charm and magnetic aura. As the spectators stood in awe, the noble ladies, unable to resist the allure of his presence, would willingly lower themselves in humble reverence. Kneeling before him with a mixture of admiration and reverence, they would bow with grace, acknowledging his captivating talent and undeniable charisma. Unbeknownst to the mesmerized audience, his brilliance lay not only in his performance but also in the strategic placement of objects that added an air of mystique to his act. With a clever touch, he positioned each item meticulously, evoking wonder and curiosity among the spectators. These strategically placed objects, eagerly sought after by the noble ladies, became the symbolic tokens of his mesmerizing power over their hearts and minds. Such was the allure of his performances that even the most esteemed members of society couldn't help but become enthralled by his artistry. The sense of dominance he felt in those moments was unlike anything he had experienced before, fueling his passion to continue weaving a web of enchantment and mystery that left all who witnessed his brilliance yearning for more. It was a bizarre source of gratification, one that fed his ego and reinforced his belief in his own superiority. Unbeknownst to most, Ethan's private thrill had become a delicate dance, carefully orchestrated to maintain the facade of his status. Yet, Dorothy's unexpected reaction had shaken the core of his self-assured persona, making him question whether his actions were indeed appropriate, or if he had been letting hubris guide his steps all along. As the events of the evening unfolded, Ethan found himself grappling with a flood of emotions and self-reflection. He realized that seeking affirmation through such a manipulative and haughty approach was neither noble nor respectful. Deep down, he knew that true respect and admiration could only be earned through genuine character and actions, not through artificial theatrics. The atmosphere in the room turned tense, hushed murmurs circulating among the guests as they witnessed the unfolding drama. Ethan, feeling the weight of Dorothy's concern and the judgment of those around him, found himself at a loss for words. He knew that he couldn't ignore the truth any longer, and it was time to confront his own behavior head-on. Taking a deep breath, Ethan stepped forward, making his way towards Dorothy with a determined yet vulnerable expression on his face. He acknowledged his past mistakes and the misguided pursuit of validation that had led him astray. In that moment, he understood the necessity of facing the consequences of his actions and taking responsibility for the pain he may have caused others. With sincerity in his voice, he addressed Dorothy, seeking to make amends. "I know I've hurt you, and I deeply regret my actions," Ethan said, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. "I was seeking validation in all the wrong places, and I lost sight of what truly matters. I'm committed to changing and learning from my mistakes." As he spoke, some guests observed his genuine humility, while others remained skeptical, waiting to see if his words would be followed by meaningful actions. It was evident that Ethan was embarking on a journey of personal growth, determined to be a better person. In the midst of the tension, Dorothy listened carefully, her expression softening slightly as she saw the vulnerability in Ethan's eyes. She, too, understood the importance of second chances and the potential for growth. Her heart felt conflicted, torn between the pain he had caused and the possibility of forgiveness. The room seemed to hold its breath as Ethan continued, the weight of his words palpable. He knew that the path ahead would be challenging, and that genuine change required dedication and time. But he was willing to put in the effort, to confront his flaws and embrace humility as he worked towards becoming a better version of himself. As the minutes passed, the room remained silent, allowing Ethan's words to settle in. At this critical juncture, the unfolding of events held an air of uncertainty, leaving everyone unable to foresee the ultimate consequences. Nonetheless, it was widely acknowledged that Ethan had taken the first momentous step towards a profound transformation and personal growth. The impact of his choices and actions on this particular evening had the potential to reverberate far beyond what anyone could anticipate, influencing the lives of not only those present but also touching the hearts and minds of others who might never meet him. This marked the commencement of a voyage into uncharted territories, and the world awaited with bated breath to witness the cascading effects of Ethan's decisions as they rippled across time and space.